had tomato for lunch, and is it just me, or is like anyone else like eat whole tomatoes like apples? Because that's my favorite way to eat a tomato. And everyone thinks it's strange, but I love tomatoes. But, like, it has to be like a Roma tomato, you know, like a big tomato. I don't like cherry tomatoes very much. I like cherry tomatoes when it has like, when you have like mozzarella and balsamic vinegar and like a little basil. So good. That's the only way to eat cherry tomatoes. But like when I eat a tomato, I like a nice big Roma tomato. So good. That's the most Italian thing you'll hear about me. I am, how much Italian am I? I think, almost like, I think I'm a good quarter Italian actually. I'll have to, I'm Russian, Italian, Irish, Latin, I think maybe a little German. I have to look at my 23andMe again. Anonymous wants to know, what's my zodiac sign? I am a Libra. It's weird. So I think I don't know if I believe in like astrology or all that, but sometimes I wonder like if it's accurate, because people will give a description of a Libra and I feel like, yeah, that's me. That makes sense. But then at the same time, like, you know, people give a description of a mental disorder and I'm like, yeah, that's me. That makes sense. So, I don't know. Hello, we have 19 people watching. Hello, everyone. Oof. I tried to do my hair all pretty and whatnot. I'm still trying to figure out how to do, like, pin-up curls. The problem is all the curls go down here. They don't want to, like, maybe my hair is like too long. I chopped quite a bit of it off. I made the mistake of bleaching my hair in 2020. Yes, I am a natural blonde. If you've seen my hair color prior to 2020, that is my natural hair color. So pretty much this to like here is my natural hair color. But at this point it's all blended in at that point. Hi. I am doing so well. How are you? A lot of people were concerned for me. I kind of like ran away for a bit. First, I think I just needed a break. I needed just to recoup and kind of figure out who Ashton is for a bit, because I was kind of playing a character for a while. If I haven't really told you the story of my life with my manager and kind of where my political... I'll do a video explaining like how I got involved in politics and where it came from, why I did it, and blah, 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 blah. A lot of people have their theories. Trust me, I've heard them all. But I'll explain the full story. I'll explain why I got into it, why I left, all that fun stuff. I feel like I've explained it so many times in podcasts and like interviews and streams here, and I feel like I just need to make a solid video on it. But yeah. I hope everyone's well. I'm here to basically answer like any questions people have. Yeah. I like accidentally wore like a Marilyn Monroe type outfit today. I want to show you guys my outfit. Hold on. Like, look at these pants. Like, I'm pretty sure she had pants just like this. Am I wrong? Beth, you want to come say hi? Come on. Come say hi. Oh. For those who are just watching today and haven't met Buffy yet, this is Buff. This is Buffaroni. She is my pupper. I have a cat as well, but she likes to do her own thing. She's a hermit. She likes to be alone. Although that's not completely true. I feel like Charlotte, when she decides she wants pets, she definitely... You good? Oh! No, I'm not full face makeup on today. We have a shoot later. We can't ruin it. As much as I love you and I love your kisses. Oh. I feel like I have Like my lipstick's a little smeared from lunch, but that's fixable. A lot of people have questions about who I'm voting for in politics, and a lot of people just like assumed I did a 180 in politics. I mean, I will say this: I do identify as definitely socially as liberal for sure. Economically, for a long time when I was, I think, about 13 years old, up all throughout my college years, I identified as libertarian, and for most of my life I identified as libertarian. But the truth of the matter is I know nothing about economics. I know nothing about different scenarios America would survive under different economic situations. Yeah, so I'm kind of in the position of I don't know enough about politics to really have a platform or say on it. But I'm definitely open-minded to learning different things and trying to understand. I definitely, for those wondering, this is my Miss Argentina wig. I'm still working on her. I'm definitely socially liberal, for sure. I think a part of me, you know, any part of me that ever sort of steered away from that was a lot of just self-loathing, to be honest, because I was very much stuck in the closet for a long time, and when I was open about my sexuality, like, I just had a lot of self-hatred, and I thought, you know, the more conservative Christian I am, the happier I'll be, because, you know, everyone I see who's happy is a Christian conservative, and therefore I need to marry a man as soon as possible, and yada, 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 and, so it was definitely a huge mask for me. A lot of people assume it was a grift, but it was more so along the lines of me trying to fit into a world that, like, had no place for me to begin with. And so I ended up dating a lot of men that I wasn't necessarily attracted to. I wasn't attracted to at all. And I was just kind of desperate to not be lonely because I had this constant fear of being alone and this constant fear of being abandoned, you know, due to childhood stuff. And so I kind of latched onto this idea of, like, trying to be the perfect trad waifu, because I thought if I did that, I would never be alone, and I would find a man who'd want to marry me. I ended up just, you know, dating men who, like, would say they were, like, a Christian conservative, but, like, they themselves had no actual intention of being that. So I think, you know, it was funny enough, when I sort of abandoned that mindset, I have to get married now, I have to get married now, I have to get married now, I have to, like, be a Christian conservative. When I abandoned that and just kind of focused on what makes me happy, I ended up finding myself in a very healthy relationship, in a very healthy situation, and I'm a lot happier now. So, you know, that's kind of where I'm at. Ashley M says, I used to say love thy country, hate thy government, and that's something I think I still very much stand by, actually. I don't trust anyone in government. I don't trust anyone involved in politics. I don't believe in oligarchs, which we live under a system of oligarchs who do not care about us, whether we're voting for Trump or Biden or, I guess now Kamala Harris, which as someone from California, it baffles me. I'm not a fan of Kamala Harris. I can go into further detail of why I'm not a fan of Kamala Harris. She is a cop. She is a front runner for the war on drugs. I do not like her. She's put a lot of innocent people in jail for nonviolent crimes, and ever since marijuana has been legalized in California, nothing has been done with those people. Nothing. So, no, I'm not a fan of Kamala Harris. I'm not a fan of Biden. I'm not a fan of Trump. I'm not a fan of Clinton. I'm not a fan of Bush. I'm not a fan of Obama. I'm not a fan of any of them. I think they're all war criminals. I think the closest I've ever been to really having a political label is libertarian, but I think that's not... I don't even think that's accurate. No harm to our rat friends. No harm to our rat friends in Venezuela. A lot of people always make fun of me for that video, and I actually love that video so much now as I've gotten older. When it first came out, like when I looked dumb, I was like, oh, I was so mortified. I thought my life was ruined, and I thought, this is the end of the world. It looks so stupid. And I kind of just look at it, I'm like, how did people not make fun of this more? How did like SNL not do something with this? Like, there's so much that could have been done with that video. I would love to actually have a real conversation with Dasha, because I feel like that could have been something beneficial that never went anywhere, because I don't know, I'm just shoving a microphone in her face and trying to get a good clip. It was definitely gotcha journalism, and nobody benefits from that. And I would love to have an actual conversation with her. And I know, obviously she's a busy woman. Her life is just blown up because of that video, and I'm very happy for her. I wish nothing but good things for everyone. Everyone. I don't believe in enemies at this point, I think, but I would love to actually have a real conversation with her, because I feel like that was an opportunity missed. Let me see. Yeah, when it comes to economics, I consider myself a capitalist, because I am self-employed, right? So I feel like inherently I have to support capitalism. But at the same time, you know, as someone who does have a lot of health issues, I can understand, you know, and actually is in a world now where I do pay for health insurance, and I do recognize that the health insurance industry is very corrupt. I wonder if there is a different option. But at the same time, I also recognize that if we did have a universal healthcare system, knowing our government and the people in charge, would they just hand that power back over to another corporation? Would they just mishandle it? You know, so it's a very complicated thing where I don't really know how to fix these certain issues. Would I like everyone to have access to healthcare and housing and have food on their table? Absolutely. But there are many answers. For example, just a better thriving economy where the cost of living wasn't so insane. And I'm not sure the answer to that, to be honest. I'm not going to sit here and talk out my butt and be like, socialism is the answer, or full free market capitalism is the answer, because the truth is I don't have the answer. What's up? What's up? What happened? Do you want to talk? Do you have things to say? Huh? What's up? Hi. My little love bug. Eddie Lex says, sometimes it's just voting for the lesser of two evils. And like, I don't like having that mindset of like, do I really have to go in and vote for the warmonger with the blue tie or the warmonger with the red tie? Like, I don't like living in that world. And again, I don't think I have enough. Oh, bless you. Oh, bless you. Do you have allergies? Do you have a cold coming up? What's going on? Huh? Okay. Hi, honey. Oh. Almost got a screen right now. Why are you sneezing? What's wrong? Are you okay? Hi. What about RFK? I actually know nothing about RFK. I know absolutely nothing to RFK. I'm not paying attention as much as I should be right now. I have been more focused on building a business and developing my life and just making up for lost time and kind of figuring out what I want to do and what things that make me happy and things I'm truly passionate about. Politics just doesn't really bring me happiness. I don't think it brings anybody happiness, to be honest. And I also don't want to be, I have an interest in politics. I just don't want to be in a position where I'm just talking to talk, you know? I'm not, if I'm gonna have a platform about something, I want to do about things I truly am passionate about and make me happy. Which, by the way, I did recently upload a new video if anyone is interested. So. Hi, Beth. Okay. I thought there was like a little disconnect in the sound for a second. Because I made most of my subscriber account based on other videos I made in the past. My old videos got millions of views. And unfortunately, those videos are technically owned by my old manager. I, even if I wanted to, I couldn't publish them. So while the channel is mine, technically the videos belong to them. I've liked horror movies since I was a young kid. My dad introduced me to Child's Play when I think I was about 5 or 6 years old. And then after that, I saw Fright Night. And he sort of made a habit of trying to show me movies with the intention of seeing what actually scared me. It was more so like he like enjoyed horror, I think, when he was in college, and so he thought, oh, this is my child, I need to show my child things that I enjoyed growing up, you know. Wasn't the appropriate age to like watch horror movies, but nonetheless, that's what he showed me. And I really liked Child's Play. I really liked Fright Night. He showed me The Exorcist, saying, "Oh, this is the scariest movie I've ever seen in my entire life," and I thought it was a comedy. Because in The Exorcist, I'm watching this and I'm like, she's pissing herself. Her head is turning 360 degrees, and she's puking up pea soup everywhere. And I almost refused to believe it was supposed to be a scary movie. Like, that's just how bad The Exorcist was to me. When I think I was either 6. I think I was 6 when my dad showed me The Exorcist. But I've always liked horror movies. My first introduction to horror, I think, if we want to go way, way back, I think is technically Twilight Zone. Because my mom would just watch Twilight Zone every year during the New Year's marathon. So my earliest experience with horror, I would say, is probably Twilight Zone. And just liking Halloween as a kid. Very early on, I've always liked Halloween. As you can see, I have an entire like horror movie shrine behind me. There's even more over there, it's just you can't see it. Yes, I was Jim Smith. I can no longer go by that name because my manager owns it now. So that's the unfortunate thing. But it's fine. I don't mind it so much. It's just I just go by my real name now. Old Bag says, I remember watching Jaws for the first time. It was scary. Yeah, so Jaws was like the one movie. Jaws and The Birds were the two movies that actually freaked me out the most as a kid. The slashers never scared me. Ghostface, Michael Myers, Freddy. Like, they never scared me as a kid. The ones that scared me are the ones with animals. Because a shark attack, that could happen. A bunch of birds going psycho and rabid and attacking people, that could happen. So for a long time after watching The Birds for the first time, I used to like prevent like going outside. Like, I didn't want to go to the beach because I was afraid seagulls would attack me. So what's wrong? What's that? Eddie Lex says, too bad you didn't grow up in the 80s. Horror movies were everywhere. Yeah. I think the 80s were like the best time for movies and music, honestly. Hi. Do I get scared watching horror movies? I mean, it depends on the horror movie. I really don't like zombies, and I really don't like anything with demons. I mean, I'll watch things with demons. I just like, because I so heavily believe in that stuff, it's like why I won't touch a Ouija board and why I won't touch, like I won't go to haunted houses or anything like that. I had a bad experience with a Ouija board when I was 13, and I just, um, I'll do a video on that explaining it, but yeah. Anything with demons or zombies. I also like the idea of being bit by a zombie and then not having control of my own body. That terrifies me, and the idea of a demon possessing me and I not having control over my own actions, that scares me as well. I just don't like the idea of it. I don't like the idea of something else taking over me and then I can't be my own person. That scares me. In a weird way that has happened to me. Again, that's for a different video. If you were asked to do a collaboration but it involved politics, would you turn it down? Yes. I mean, maybe if it was more so about like what, like a just a talk of like why of my experience with it, maybe. But I mean, for the most part, yes. Only because I just don't feel like I'm informed enough. I feel like it's almost a little strange that someone like me was given a platform at such a young age. I don't think people realize how young I was when I was given this platform and when like kind of just blew up on the internet. I had no world experience. I had no knowledge of anything that I was talking about. I was kind of just talking out my butt. And, you know, for me to have like this channel and this platform based on that is a little frightening. I don't think anyone of that age should be considered an expert in politics. That's why I think the whole Kyle Rittenhouse thing is really funny. Everyone's like mad at him now for saying he's not gonna support Trump, he's gonna support Ron Paul. Like, one, was the kid ever like some gung-ho MAGA guy? Like, was that ever his platform? And two, he's a kid. Like, it is very normal for people to change their political opinions and change and develop who they are as a person and change their identity in their 20s. That is the whole purpose of your 20s. Most people do that in their 20s. If you have the same political opinions that you did at 19, I am very concerned. No offense, but most people don't. Why are you trying to get on this? Why are you trying to get on the desk, you silly girl? Hmm? Hmm? I just don't think, I think someone like me should have never had this platform in politics. I just shouldn't have. I think, I'm thinking it was just, I think what happened was, I mean, I know what happened. My manager, that basically I was like, shoot, am I really going into this right now? In a nutshell, I was scouted. Like, there was such an upwave of political commentary in 2017 and 2016 that shoot, I don't know if I should talk about this or wait till I do a video on it. Do you guys even have an interest in like what happened exactly, like how I was scouted, how I was found? I mean, I definitely have always had an interest in politics. I identified as libertarian. Like when I say that, like when I told people like, oh yeah, I watched Alex Jones when I was 13. I was a huge fan at 13. That wasn't a lie, but I was also a 13-year-old girl, right? So being 13, not many friends, spending all my time on the internet, playing World of Warcraft, you know, being very much into conspiracy theories. Uh, it's a given that I was going to find someone like Alex Jones and consider him my hero at 13 years old. And, you know, so it was never, that part was never not true. But I don't think I was ever like, I don't think I ever had like a real desire to be like some trad American like sweetheart. I mean, I thought I did because again, going back to what I said earlier, I was very lonely. I had no friends growing up. I wasn't considered like popular or pretty. I had a very rough childhood. My home was I came from a very broken home, and I think I really just desired a sense of community. And so a lot of the people I saw in my life who were happy and like seemed to come from healthy families. They all came from Christian conservative families. So I thought if I became Christian conservative, then I would find happiness. I would find a community in that sense. And I didn't make any money off of this channel. My manager basically got every dime. But yeah, I generally wanted to be part of a community. I wanted to be part of something. I was looking for a sense of identity. And my manager knew that. And he saw he saw someone he could doll up, put in a push-up bra, make pretty, and put in front of a camera. And she could say whatever talking points he gave her and people would eat it up. That's basically what happened. And I genuinely wanted to believe that, like, I was doing good because people told me I was doing good. And no adult in my life had ever told me that I was doing good enough. That I was, like, good enough for anything. So, to have, like, this platform and have people tell me that, you know, it's almost like I wanted to force myself to become something, even if I wasn't necessarily it. And so, like, right now, my main focus is kind of figure out who Ashton is, because I didn't really get to do that in my teen years or in my early 20s. It was kind of scripted. So I've been spending the majority of this current time kind of figuring out, okay, what is Ashton like? What is Ashton's morals? What does Ashton believe in? Yada, yada, yada. So when people tell me, like, oh, what are your political beliefs right now? I'm like, I'm still kind of figuring that out. I don't think I have enough information to give people a proper answer on that. But I hope maybe this channel can be a way for me to learn and educate myself and talk to people from different perspectives. Because I don't want to be a musician where I talk more about something I don't fully understand, and sometimes it's better just to listen to other people who know more than I do. Hamburglar Helper says, I love your old political videos. Always got me off when you wore a push-up bra and a Trump hat. That's the thing, too. What I do for a living now is I do pinup modeling. That's basically my main, well, that's not my main source of income. I also work in marketing and PR and audio and visual work. But I do have a spicy page. I do pinup modeling, and I am learning. I am taking classes on burlesque. And a lot of people ridicule me about it, and they make fun of me for it, but it's like everything that I did in politics basically involved me in a push-up bra. The only difference now is I'm no longer wearing a red hat and saying talking points anymore. That's basically the only difference now. My year-long best friend stopped talking to me overnight because I voted someone he didn't like. He was family to me. I hate what the world became. Absolutely. The fact that we live in a world, though, where people, or family members, friends, you know, we're distanced from for the simple fact that we have different political opinions. I think political culture nowadays is very toxic. I think it's purposely divisive. It's why I stay away from the left versus right paradigm, because if you talk to someone on the left, if you talk to someone on the right, and really level with someone, I don't mean like walk in with the desire to debate someone, the desire to win an argument. If you really just talk to someone, any person, left wing or right wing, we all have the same desire. And that is to make the world a better place. To make it so people can afford to pay their bills, so we can afford groceries, so we can afford to take our kids to school and not have our rights, like freedom of speech and the right to get married, stripped away. Everybody wants the world to be a happy and safe and wonderful place. The problem is that we have different ideas to go about it, how to make it better. There's also a lot of people who are terrified of change and terrified of things they don't understand and anything different from what they understand. And that's the issue. So we have two separate groups of people. Now, and mind you, politics it should not be a black or white thing, but it's treated as such. I mean, we're given two bipartisan political parties, but people are far more complex than two parties. Again, we're walking into a voting booth voting for people between the man with the red tie and the blue tie, but they're both paid off by the same corporations and the same war criminals. So it's our system is vastly corrupt, and it's not made for a population of people who have so many different, unique moral beliefs. It just doesn't work. Leaford says, is it good or bad to isolate oneself as much as you can? Is it good or bad? I don't think isolation is the answer. I think, if anything, that's the worst thing you do. Maybe remove yourself from internet culture for a little bit and go touch grass and talk to real people and actually try to develop real communication and connections with real people who might think differently than you. I think isolation is the worst thing you can do for yourself, because for a long time I isolated myself from anyone who wasn't in my little bubble. And so when my little bubble had people who decided they didn't necessarily like me as much or they didn't want me around, I felt like my entire world was crumbling. I thought, oh my goodness, everyone that I know, everyone that I thought was going to accept me and love me doesn't like me anymore. And it was terrifying. A few years ago when I decided to take a break, I thought, oh my gosh, oh my goodness, I have nothing. The world is crumbling, the world is over, and it's just simply not true. Simply not true. It's a big, beautiful world out there with big, beautiful, amazing people. And I think if we're just, honestly, I would say that like my overall moral beliefs is just to be a kind person. And to just, if you don't understand something, you don't have to be afraid of it. But it's never a bad option to try to be kind in a situation where you may not understand. Eric Coffey says, what's with adults and cosplay? We are adults, not children. So it's funny you mentioned that, Eric, because the amount of people I see who go to sporting events in full face makeup and wearing jerseys with other people's name on it, that's considered cosplay. You are cosplaying as a different football player or baseball player. When I see people wearing a red hat and basically following around a man who just sits on a podium and they basically worship this man while dressing like him, to me that's cosplay. You found your sense of a fan base, whether it's politics or sports, and that's considered being an adult. But if someone has a character they like or has a certain movie or TV show or video game that brings them joy, if they dress up, if they show any sort of enthusiasm from that, that's considered childish, which I think is pretty funny. Going to sporting events and showing passion for said sports team, or going to a political event and showing the enthusiasm for a politician. Mind you, a politician that doesn't care about you. See, I'd rather have enthusiasm for fictional characters that I know I will never meet and I know do not care about me because they're not real, than enthusiasm for a sports team or a politician that couldn't care if I lived or died. Couldn't care. So, also, I think we should just let people enjoy things. If you think it's childish, then you don't have to do it. It's simple as that. And you know what? If someone really likes to wear a jersey and go to a sporting event, I think that's wonderful. I'm not going to trash someone for having something that brings them joy. I'm just not going to do it. If you go to Trump events, if you go to Trump rallies wearing a red hat, I'm not going to make fun of you if you get excited when you see Trump stand on a podium. Or maybe you're a Democrat and you get excited when you see Kamala Harris stand on a podium. I'm not going to make fun of you. It's simple as that. I'm not going to make fun of you if you go to sporting events and get excited, because what brings me happiness is going to be completely different than what brings someone else happiness. Which reminds me, this is kind of like what I want to talk about in a video. I was going to film a video about this today, but I kind of like want to brief it over with you. So, did you guys see what Liz Wheeler posted today? Hold on. We're going to bring up Liz Wheeler's Twitter. She posted something. It wasn't today. It was a while ago. But she posted something about men who game. And I thought it was very, hold on. Let me see if I can find it. God, did she delete her tweet about it? I think she did. Oh my gosh, she deleted it. Did she delete it? Oh, no, she deleted it. Okay, here we go. It's on Reddit. Let's see. Jonah Holloway says, there are some cosplays that are definitely not made for children. I'll throw this out as an example. The infamous Princess Leia two-piece outfit when she is with Jabba the Hutt. Yes, if you think cosplay is for children, you are wrong. Oh my god. What do you think of men who buy OnlyFans? Is it shameful? Well, considering the fact that I myself have an OnlyFans, no, I don't. As long as you are not in a relationship with another woman, or if you are and that's something that is communicated, I don't think it's shameful. But I will state that on my OnlyFans, I do have a segment where I stream and I educate the people who follow me on how to get girlfriends. And I educate people on how to date. And I've had several people who do follow me message me and say, hey Ashton, I'm just letting you know that I can't follow you on here anymore because I got a girlfriend. I'm going on a few dates and I can't follow you anymore. And, you know, a lot of the times they don't come back. So hopefully that means they got married and found a nice lady. Sometimes they do come back because, you know, it didn't work out or whatever. And they continue to watch me on stream talk about how to get a girlfriend. Because here's the thing. There's a lot of creators out there who will tell young men, hey, don't go to the gym, or give them the absolute worst dating advice. I don't know who it was, but I think it was like a conservative pundit who was making fun of people who go to the gym. And I thought this was very, very, very funny. Because I thought to myself, well, of course you don't want your followers to go to the gym. Of course you want your followers to get girlfriends. Because if they go to the gym and gain any sort of confidence and to get a girlfriend, then they're not going to sit at home all day and watch your live streams about you complaining about gym people. And they're not going to be sending you super chats anymore. That's why you don't want your followers to go to the gym. That's why you don't want your followers to have a sense of confidence or get a girlfriend, because you want them stuck at home giving you super chats. So on my page, I actually educate men how to get a girlfriend so they no longer have to be on that site listening to me. So if you want to learn how to talk to women, I as a woman can teach you. I want to go over what Liz Wheeler said. Hold on. We're going to add a source. I apologize to everyone. I'm still it's been a long time. I haven't. Okay, here we go. Okay, so can I not zoom in? Well, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Maybe I'll just download the actual picture, and then we'll try to like get it up here. There we go. Yay, okay. So, Liz Wheeler says, this is 100% true. Men playing video games is peak unattractive, beyond red flag. Like, deal breaker zone. It's weird that so many dudes don't get this. And I find this so funny because, okay, let me just explain like why this is such a ridiculous statement, right? So it literally says right here, gambling. It says gambling right here under like the list of like least attractive hobbies for men according to women, like this weird graph. Okay, it says gambling, online trolling, which I can understand. Gambling, you don't want to date a guy who gambles because he's wasting money. Online trolling makes sense because it's like, why do I want to date a man, like a grown man who bullies people online? It says here like the most wholesome hobbies for men, playing video games, and apparently playing video games got the least attractive, which I think is dumb because, I mean, it's understandable if the guy is just spending all day playing video games and not doing anything else with his time. Like, he's not going to work, he's not cleaning, he's not taking out the trash, he's not doing, like, the basic necessities to life. Understandable. But if a man has been working all day, just got off work, doesn't, like, you know, just wants to chill, wants to cool down, wants to, like, take a break, he should play a couple hours of video games if that's what helps him chill down, right? That helps him relax, that helps him cool off after a long day of work. But look at these other hobbies, right? Collecting figurines. Apparently collecting figurines is not attractive. Magic tricks, building model trains, taxidermy, comic book collecting, bird watching. Like, these are the most wholesome like hobbies, and it's just like, just let men enjoy things, let men have things that make them happy. Like, I I don't understand. Like, look at how wholesome this is. Look how wholesome this list, other than gambling and online trolling, look how wholesome these are. And Liz Wheeler, of course, is like, gaming is peak unattractive. Is like, wait a minute, so like cheating is not peak unattractive? Gambling, harassment, drug and alcohol addiction, but gaming is where you draw the line, Liz Wheeler? Like, that's your problem? Some Call Me Jeff says being in great shape doesn't always result in a girlfriend, though. A lack of self esteem generally comes from continuous mistreatment and abuse, and only once you leave that environment you can thrive. Okay, I agree. Like, I've definitely been in my share of the not best situations. However, I will say that, like, if you're a man who is at home, and spending a lot of time on the internet, chances are you don't have the best sense of self. You probably have confidence issues, and that's probably a huge reason why it's hard for you to date. Going to the gym is a great way to build that confidence, to develop yourself as a person, to have a better understanding of your self worth. And so when people like rag on, and not just men, but women too, right? Women going to the gym is a great confidence booster as well, confidence booster for them as well. So for someone to like rag on people who go to the gym is just a very odd thing to complain about to me. Like, you're making fun of people for bettering their lives and finding something that's a healthy hobby. It's very strange. I want to do a whole video kind of like deep diving into like Liz Wheeler's comment on Twitter, but that's just basically like a little summary of it. Old Bag says going to the gym is a good way to meet good people. This is very true. Because, I mean, think about it. Like, a lot of, if you were to go, like, I'm not on dating apps anymore, but if you go on a dating app, right? Like, one of the first things people will say is, like, oh, let's go get a drink at a bar. And I, I'm not completely sober, but, like, I don't drink often. I think I have a glass of wine or maybe a drink once every month or two. Like, I rarely drink, mostly because like I just don't like the bar scene. I'm not a club person. I'm not into that. I think the one bar I enjoy going to in the area is just, it's a horror themed bar, and I like going for the simple fact that I like looking at all the stuff. And I don't like go out unless like my friends want to go out as well. And I oftentimes even then don't drink alcohol, right? So gosh, haven't been on a dating app in so long. But I make it very clear, like when I usually like would go out to with people, I would say, hey, like I don't drink, and they would always suggest going out to bars. I feel like going to bars is like the worst place to meet people because one, it's usually loud, like you can't hear anything the other person is saying, so you can't really talk or get to know each other. And also, like, do you really like just the I'm not trying to dog on drinking the way that Liz Wheeler is dogging on video games, or like I forget who made the comments about going to the gym, but like I'm but that kind of environment does set up a precedent where like you don't really get to know each other. I feel like a first date or a good place to meet someone should always be a factor in that person's personality. Um, so I'm very fortunate enough to live in an area where like you can go on like to Disney for first dates, but other great date ideas are like going to the park, having picnics. If you both have dogs, taking your dogs for a walk together. First dates don't have to be expensive, but I'm not a fan of going to bars or coffee shops for first dates just because they kind of are a little lazy, but they don't need to be expensive. Any girl who complains about you not spending a lot of money on a first date is like, that's a red flag. However, I do think usually the man, if it is a heterosexual relationship, the man should pay for the first date just because I think it should be based on whoever invited who out, honestly. If whoever invited someone to the date, that person should pay for the date. If that makes sense. And usually, traditionally, men will pay. Nunya says, ew, why was I still subbed to this feminist trash? I feel like what I'm saying is pretty trad. I don't think what I'm saying is feminist. I feel like what I'm saying is like traditional, is considered fairly traditional. Ironically enough, it's something Andrew Tate will agree with me on. So if you think it's a feminist thing to say that whoever invited who out for a date should pay, is Andrew Tate a feminist? Is that what you're implying, sir? Because I'm pretty sure this is like the one thing me and Andrew Tate agree on. I'm just saying. It's actually not a feminist take to say that I'm saying the man should pay, but that's if the man invites the woman out. What happened to my, oh, there we go. This got a little funky. Oopsie. Yeah, I apologize. I have been on YouTube for a long time, so oopsie, this got a little messy. There we go. Oh, better. Jonah says, can I ask you for relationship advice? Sure. I'm just gonna be honest with you. I mean, sure, why not? I have my string of interesting situations, and I'm now in a healthy dynamic, so yeah. I have an actual question. I feel like that's a common thing that's coming out. When did men paying for the first day be considered feminist? Because I feel like that's always been a precedent, right? So, dating in the 1950s, so like back, I don't know how old people here are that are watching, basically back in the time of our grandparents, my grandparents at least, right? What was considered the norm for teenage women was they would actually go on dates with multiple men, and the men would they would have basically 3-4 men on their roster, and they would keep those men on their roster, going on dates with them. The men would buy them gifts, court them, bring them flowers, and the women would not drop any of them, even if like they were like boyfriend, girlfriend, right? They would not drop the other men until they were engaged. Like that was like the norm, right? So the men would take these women out for dates, buy them things, try to like woo them as much as possible. And the women would have 3 or 4 guys that they were going on dates with, and they wouldn't drop any of the other men until one of them proposed to them and she accepted. That is actually the traditional thing to do in dating, in society. That is the norm. But if you bring that up today, a lot of people claim that's feminist. But that's actually the traditional norm. So it's just funny to me that people are now claiming men paying for the first day is feminist. Old Bag says, men buy dinner when going out, women cook dinner when invited around. I would say that, yeah, that's the tradition. I'm not a very traditional person. I'm just talking about in retrospect, right? Am I wrong? Flat Earther says, are tattoos physical manifestation of mental illness? I would disagree. I have no tattoos. I don't have any tattoos. I keep hearing this a lot from like red pill type people. Like, oh, colorful hair and tattoos are a sign of mental illness. I don't agree with that. I think it really depends on like how you perceive it. In many cultures, tattoos are considered something that warriors would do. In some cultures, tattoos are religious. I honestly think it's just a sense of self-expression. Um, I don't agree with that statement. I think there are people who are mentally ill with no tattoos, and there are people who are mentally ill with tattoos, and perfectly sane people with tattoos. I don't think it's a real correlation. To be honest, I have considered getting tattoos. I have a long list of tattoos I am interested in having, but I haven't gotten a single one just because I don't know. I haven't gotten a single tattoo yet. I have tattoos that would be cool ideas, and I appreciate other people's tattoos, but I haven't gotten one yet. I haven't felt the real desire to get any of them. I feel like once I do, if I do get a tattoo, it has to be something I'm really like, okay, this is like what I'm sticking with, because I don't want to get a tattoo and then like 4 months later I'm like, oh, never mind, I don't like this thing anymore. You know, but that's just me. So. Neomass says, get a temporary tat. I do have plenty of temporary tattoos for when I'm doing cosplay and things like that. Eddie Lex says, I live in New York City. I'm a conservative / libertarian. Finding conservative in NYC is like finding an honest politician. So, full disclosure, you don't need to have a significant other who has the same political beliefs. I think that is silly. I think that is dumb. This is coming from someone who didn't talk to my family for 2 years because like the politics was like the straw that broke the camel's back kind of thing. I'm actively working on rebuilding my relationship with my family members and developing that and really trying to surpass a lot of past issues. I'm also rebuilding friendships with people who have different political opinions than me, and you know, I don't think you should really concern yourself with that, to be honest. Some call me Jeff says there's a lot of crazies who don't have tattoos. Yeah. Hi. You're looking at one. Put a clock over my hair just because. Thanks a lot. Makes it a little easier. Just do you have a hair tie with me? No? I'll put one of the goodie ones and I'll just snap it out later. Here we go. It's out of my face. Ooh. Hello, Maurice. Do you want to come up? Sorry. Buffy wants to come back up here. Come on, honey. Come on. There we go. Some Call Me Jeff says, people change their politics when they change their ideals and morals. We often change our ideals subconsciously in accordance with those we truly care for. Yeah, and I think for me, it was me sort of just coming to terms with accepting who I am and just not being ashamed of myself and like myself, and also just finding a really nice community where I'm just happy. And that community is something that I really care about and cherish and I want to protect. And a lot of the people in that community are those who, you know, are groups of people who now matter to me. Hi, Mr. White. Yeah, this is Buff. She my girl. She's a good girl. Kristoff says, y'all ready for Kamala? I think it is interesting that both candidates are promising no taxes on tips for service workers, which I think is great. I think is wonderful. Hopefully they, no matter who wins, they keep their promise. Serious question though, how do you feel about the X-Files reboot? But David, I cannot say his last name for the life of me. David and Gillian have said there is zero interest in reprising the role. I think they should leave it alone. I think they need to stop reprising everything. They need to stop rebooting everything because it's making me upset. I don't like reboots. I don't like sequels. Although, I am hoping for the Harry Potter reboot only because as somebody who is a huge fan of Harry Potter and has read all the books, there is so much information missing from the movies. Also, I want to talk to the costuming director of the Harry Potter films because the Harry Potter films should have taken place in the 1990s. The first book is 1991 and the very last book ends in 1998. They should have been dressed as if they are in the 1990s. Also, why do all the wizard's children who are not Muggle-born have Muggle clothing? These are questions I need answered. Mr. White says Buffy reboot. No. No more Buffy reboots. No more Star Wars reboots. No more Marvel does. Marvel and DC actually do need reboots because the cinematic universes have just been completely flopped. There are actually many things I do think need rebooted. It's just a matter of will it be done right? I would love a reboot if, like, there was some sort of ode to both Sarah Michelle Gellar and Kristy Swanson. Because if you see behind me, I have, that's actually a signed poster by Kristy, who follows me on Twitter, by the way. X now. I actually prefer the movie over the TV show only because the movie has a level of camp and cheese that like is just missing from the show. The show takes itself too seriously, and I just feel like the movie is just a perfect bimbo-esque cheese that I need when watching a film. Maddie O says, you're aging like fine wine. Looking good, Ashton. Thank you. I feel like I actually got hotter than I was at 22, 20. If you look at me at 21, which is when I quit politics, I look like a child. I sometimes look at old videos and pictures of me and think, wow, I don't look my age. I don't look 21, 20 years old, 22. I look like a child, so. Been years, oh yes, so Mr. White pointed out, it's been years since, hold on, can I, like, show comments? No? Oh, I think it's just StreamYard. Oh well. Mr. White says, been years since I've seen the movie, all I remember is Pee-wee being the best vampire ever. Yes. Pee-wee Herman I love, love Paul Rubens. He's someone I wish I could have met. R.I.P. But he had the best scene in that entire film. Also, we lost Douglas Sutherland this year, who was also in that film. And I'm very sad about it because I would have loved to meet both him and Leonard Nimoy because Body Snatcher is one of my favorite films ever